This clip is from the Boundary Riders podcast, and if you do enjoy this, then make sure to check out the full episode out every single Wednesday morning on YouTube and Spotify. So let's move on from that now and move to our segment that we have when you are here, our overreact / fair call. So obviously a couple of statements throughout the media throughout the week come through. I like to do this sort of stuff, ask you questions, then we just talk about it. Some statements that have happened throughout the week. So the first one is the Sydney Swans are playing like... Fucking hell. Hang on. Let's get this right. The Sydney Swans are playing Globetrotter football. Is that an overreaction to the first couple of weeks, or do you think that's a fair call?
I think it's overreacting to it. I think they're still trying to figure out how Dean Cox wants them to play. I think they're trying out a few things. Some things are working, some things aren't, and they don't have the personnel on the team to really show their best.
Okay. I'm the resident Swans fan here. This was said by legendary ex-coach in Paul Roos. I'm going to say it's a slight overreaction, but there are some things that I think the Swans need to fix up. For one, I don't know if Chad Warner is injured right now, but he needs to fucking lift his game because he is playing poor at the moment, to say the least. And every single time he touches it, he's trying to have a highlight reel rather than playing the game. And Chad Warner is a very, very good player. I hope he doesn't leave at the end of the season to go to the West Coast Eagles. But he seems to be a player right now that's playing for the contract rather than playing for the team. And he needs to fucking put his head over the ball and do the stuff. The flashy stuff will come with him, obviously, because that's the way he plays. But he's got to play the ball first, and he's got to play that bullish football and then explode from stoppage. He's only shown that maybe once or twice this year. I don't know, maybe there's a little bit of an injury cloud around him, but he's not playing the football that he is best at, and it is a little bit Globetrotter-like. Now, Isaac Heaney, this one I don't really have an issue with. I think he's playing the best that he can, and we saw against Collingwood a couple of weeks ago how good he is, but I think that Dean Cox needs to play him more forward. I think that he's not getting forward enough, especially when he's getting tagged through the middle of the ground, and Paul Rose also made another point in this interview that he was having, that he sees Isaac Heaney as one of the most influential players in any team in the AFL at the moment, because if Isaac Heaney gets stopped through the Swans, they don't find a way to score, or they don't find a way to win games, which I think is kind of fair, especially looking at the two finals games last year when we won against the Giants. We saw how good he was, and against Port Adelaide, he was probably the best on the ground. So, and then obviously in the grand final had a very poor performance. We get smashed by 60 points. So I get that point. But I do think on the other side of it, Sydney, I don't think they're playing necessarily Globetrotter football. I think there are a lot of good signs coming through. Their ground balls on the weekend were very high. They were better than Port Adelaide's. They moved the ball relatively well at times. The way they were moving it was good. Just the execution was horrible. The amount of times they kicked to grass, they missed targets, which is just un-Sydney-like. Like we saw last year, when they were at their best, like this, that middle part of the season, they could not miss a target. They would just bang, bang, bang inside the forward 50. It would be a goal. So there are a few issues for Sydney, but I don't think it's Globetrotter-esque at this stage. But I do think there are some aspects that they need to clean up that are a bit showboaty at this stage. Anyway, that's my 2 cents in it on the whole situation with the Sydney Swans. Let's move on to Fremantle. And are Fremantle wasting one of the all-time lists?
That's a fair call. They have one of the best midfield trios in the game.
You're looking at Young, Sarong, Brayshaw.
Yeah, and they've got Jackson and Darcy, two dominant ruckmen. And the fact is that they got two of them. Why get rid of one of them? I think you get rid of Darcy because Jackson can play really as the fourth midfielder in there. They've got a dominant forward in Tracy. They've got one of the best defenses in the league, and they can't beat a team that was 0-5 in Melbourne.
Yeah,
seriously, a team that couldn't kick 10 goals in a game. That's really shit house.
Yeah.
They have played, but that game on the weekend was one of the worst games when all the anticipation was on them to they win this, they can show their skill on the MCG, and they failed miserably.
Yeah. I would tend to agree they're wasting a list at the moment, but their team is still quite young. I will say that. Their midfield core, still, none of them would be over the age of 27.
I think they were still in the bottom 5 of the experience.
So I still think that that's a little bit of maybe looking at it, it's maybe a bit of an overreaction. But right now, this team should not be losing to Melbourne, despite where the hell it is. It should make a difference.
But this team should be making finals, and the way they're playing on the weekend, they won't play finals.
No, I agree with you. But again, I think that they are quite young. They're one of the youngest squads in the competition. They have a lot of potential, but I mean, Josh Tracy's not even over 22 yet. I mean, he looks like it. He's fucking built like a brick shit house. I think, by the way, teams should be offering him millions of dollars. Like, fuck me, I think you build a club around him, Josh Tracy. But yeah, I think it's a slight overreaction, but I do tend to agree with you, and I think most Fremantle fans would be like, when the fuck are we going to be a club that people can think about and think we are a team that people can say, oh my god, Fremantle are a good side. But when's the last time you've looked at Fremantle and gone, oh, they're a good team to watch? Or, oh, they're going to give you something every single week?
Even during their grand final days, like those finals.
In 2013.
In the mid 2010s, they weren't a flashy team.
No. Which I mean is fine, but also it's like they weren't. They really, when you're going into that grand final, everyone kind of knew this is going to be Hawthorns, and it would be a shock if Fremantle won it.
Yeah, but this is the first time since Pavlich that they have a dominant forward. They need to be able to go on with it, and the fact is that if they don't make finals this year, Longmuir doesn't last the season. Yeah.
I mean, if Longmuir doesn't, then what's next? Like, it's very hard to get someone to go over to Perth and coach.
Yeah.
Like, it's very difficult. It's just, you can see the atmosphere from the West Coast Eagles with Harley Reid and Adam Simpson last year. Like, who the hell wants to go and join that atmosphere?
Yeah.
And then it's so far away from everything. It's so far away from Victoria. You got to travel every single 2 weeks. It's not like it's SA where it's only like a 2-hour flight or whatever. It's a lot of factors that you have to take into consideration when going to play or coach in WA.
Yeah.
So that's why there's so many people who go back there, like as a home state, but also there's not a lot that really go there from outside of a WA. So it will be very interesting. Fremantle have got the Crows this week. That's an interesting game. In the preview in a moment, we'll talk about that. But fuck, that's going to be a massive contest. And then the final overreaction / fair call part of the segment. This has been one that's come up the last couple of weeks. West Coast deserve a priority pick.
I think it's a fair call. They look horrible. Like, they had a good game on the weekend and they still lost. This team can't do anything at the moment. Well, they're going to lose Oscar Allen at the end of the season, their best forward. Like, you can say Jake Waterman, but I still think Oscar Allen's their best at his best.
Yeah.
Harley Reid, I expect to leave, but they're in such a hole at the moment. They have some experience in that team, but they need a draft like Richmond and have 20 picks.
Yeah.
15 20 picks, because they need to be able to regen this team, or they're going to be down the bottom for the next 7 years, and it could be even longer when Tassie come in.
Yeah.
So I think they need it.
I would say it's an overreaction, but it's not really an overreaction. It is you don't deserve one on the fact that you should have gone to the draft the last 2 years and you haven't. You've gone to the trade table, picked up Liam Baker, who's been probably one of their better players this year, Jack Graham, who's been okay, but you could have used these draft picks like, Bo Allen's yet to play a game yet. Why the fuck is he not playing? He's one of your big prospects, WA prospects. Play him in the team. I'm sorry, but he's a lot better. Like, give him a go, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And he's your one top draft pick from a while, for a while. Like, Elijah Hewitt's came into the team and he's shown some signs. But how many young kids are joining that West Coast team? And you're like, okay, he's going to do something. Like, Harley Reid looks good, but, I mean, he's not really being consistent at the moment, which is, like, fair. He's a younger guy. But they've got so many high players up the top. Maybe they should go and let go Oscar Allen, just because he's going to bring back a lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot because he's a free agent. Maybe you should have done it last year. But I think I agree with you on the side that they need to gut this team and do the Richmond route of get like 7 top first round draft picks and go again. And let Andrew McWalter build his own team.
Yeah.
Because I think that's another issue as well, is he's got a lot of... At the moment, it's his first year. It's hard to build a team. Adam Uze in his first year was doing a lot worse than what he's doing right now, because he's basically got a whole new team that he gets to work with.
Yeah.
The team before, like this, like the team that he was working with last year was Damien Hardwick's team. Really, if you look at it, it was Damien Hardwick's team still. He's lost all those a lot of experienced players left, and the ones that stayed were like, we want to stay, we want to be Richmond. And look how good they're doing. Well, I mean, look, they're 2-4, but they are doing like this. That team was supposed to expect to win no games. Yeah. Now the only team that hasn't won a game is West Coast, and they don't look like winning one. Now, yes, they had a chance against Essendon, but like Essendon played horrible football pretty much the whole 4 quarters, and they still won the game.
Well, what about if they have to give up their priority pick and give and trade in other picks? That's all that they could do, and maybe should. They give up they give up their priority pick, which is pick 1, well, pick 2 or pick 3, and then they trade that, and then they get like 3 or 4 first rounders from other teams. Yeah,
I mean, that's what they could do, and I think that's... I mean, looking way back in the day, I think that's what they should have done with the Harley Reid one. I mean, I know that Harley Reid's a generational talent, and the thing is, they're probably going to get back more now with Harley Reid. Like, that's the thing. And I don't know if he's necessarily going to leave, but they probably get more back from it. But I think at the end of the day, they could have traded away that pick 1 for something else, or 2 picks, or they could have picked up Dan Curtin they could have traded away, and then they could have picked up WA kid Dan Curtin, who went to the Crows in the end. Yeah, he could have stayed in WA. They could have built around that. But like at the end of the day, right now, maybe McKercher doesn't look so bad. I don't know. I think they picked right. They picked Harley Reid correctly, but I do think they could have traded that away, picked up 2 kids rather than having 1, and could have worked it out that way. Because right now they have a couple of good kids out there, but really they're still relying on their experienced players. And where have those experienced players brought them in the last 4 years? They've been down in the bottom 4 for a long time.
They brought them to the injury list. That's what they've done.
Yeah, well, they've all been on the injury list, and now like Elliot Yeo on the injury list again. McGovern's been in and out of the team through injury this year. Barras obviously left, but they didn't get a lot back for him.
Do you think, out of all the players the only player you haven't spoken about is Matt Owens? I think he's been shit house.
Oh, he has been. Yeah,
he has been shit house for West Coast so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it right now, Carlton won that trade. I mean, even though Jagger Smith hasn't played.
They are lucky for the fact is that even though that Maddo is left, they're relying on Motlob. He's done shit, but they could still win this trade for the fact is that Jagger Smith hasn't played, but he could be that generational player for Carlton for 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Matt always has done nothing so far this year. And
I hardly even know he's on the field most of the... Like, I watched that Gather Round game and I didn't even know he was on the field until he kicked 1 goal.
Yeah, true. I was about to say, he kicked 1 goal and it was late in the game, so we didn't even get to see him celebrate.
It's like...
Yeah, Matt always isn't playing that well at the moment, and not many of them are.
Tim Kelly looks like he's out the door.
Yeah, which is another player that they wasted 3 first-round draft picks for, which is like, yeah, I get it. Like, Tim Kelly looked like a great player at the time, but again, you've traded away a lot of good talent or potential talent for one person who
was already a mature age pick.
Yeah, which you could have... And that's another thing as well. these fucking WA teams need to start looking in the waffle a lot more. They let go Nick Martin straight to Essendon, one of the best players for the club.
He'd probably played the best game. He was one of the best on the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think he got 2 votes on the boundary right in the BR votes. Yeah, so he was pretty fucking good. Tim Kelly they let go to Geelong a couple of years later, and then they had to use 3 first-round picks just to claw him back. They just start looking in the waffle a bit more.
They lost Dan Curtin to the Crows.
Yeah, exactly. Which I mean, they could have. They probably.
They could have got him. But
they could have got him. They could have done something better with their draft picks. I think they need to start being more creative. And I think a lot of clubs do need to be a little bit more creative. You know, I know that having those number 1, number 2, number 3 picks are so illustrious, but look at teams like Richmond. I know we keep on bringing up Richmond, but they use 7 picks. Yes, they had a lot of them, but those players are players that they've used to play roles. Like before he got injured, Harry Armstrong was showing some really good signs as that forward. A couple of those midfielders showing great signs. Luke Traynor is off that half back line. Great use of the football. That's a player they can build off of.
Yeah.
But West Coast and even North Melbourne to an extent, they're picking up these midfielders that are like, yeah, you can pick a midfielder out of the waffle and fucking play well.
Yeah.
But these generational players, yeah, maybe we're just rambling on a bit, but I think overall, I don't think West Coast deserve one because I think they've done it to themselves. I mean, now people are talking about North Melbourne. Do they deserve another one?
No.
It's like, no. What else do you want, fucking North, at this point? It's your fault at this point. You can fucking just take the training wheels off and just let them fucking roam at this point, the Roos.